Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about what happened with Mr. It. So it's a continuation of the last video that I did recently, and yeah, I just want to say first of all thank you to all of you that commented with your guesses. It was really funny. I'm just shocked. I'm shocked by Ghana. My brother's half Ghanaian. I'm shocked. Zimbabwe. How? What's going on? Anyway, without making you wait for too long, I'm just gonna tell you where dude is from. Angola. He follows Portuguese. And to be honest, I've heard a lot of interesting things from Portuguese-speaking countries, not just the African ones. So ladies, just tread lightly. Just inspect, investigate, deep dive. Listen well, because I think I didn't listen well. Like I heard and I thought I listened, but I didn't listen well, you know? And what I mean by that is, think about what the other person might have said about this guy in the relationship. You know, you gotta, when your partner tells you things, he leaves you little Easter eggs for you to uncover who he really is, and also just in how he treats you, especially after 6 months, because that's when a person's true colors start showing. Pay attention. I'm just gonna say that. Anyway, so I'm gonna get into part 2, which is when I was recalling the story, I was like, I can't believe this was my life. Like, what was I doing? And I've experienced, like, I had dated an Angolan guy before. Yeah, they were flames. Like, it was deep flames, you know, like deep flames, like the girl that he started dating conveniently immediately after we broke up started commenting on my pic. I don't want. Yeah, let me focus on the topic at hand. But Mr. Angola Part 2 was a special kind of flames, and it just made me feel some type of way about the men from this country, not just because of him, because of the community that he operated in, and about the elders, which is what today's story is about. I'm a little bit nervous because I don't know if I should talk about this, but I was just going to do it. I'm just going to. Remember I told you guys about, obviously, my clothes getting shredded. So there was somebody in his family who volunteered to have my things replaced. And I later met the person, and he was like such a nice guy. And I don't know if I should mention like what role he played in this guy's life. He wasn't his father. I'll say that. He was a senior person in his family, wasn't his father, who I revered. Okay, after meeting him, and I'm sure you guys are starting to be like, the story gets interesting. So anyway, this person had volunteered to pay for the things that were damaged by Crazy X. And yeah, after the back and forth with the breakup, like it was a bit of a prolonged breakup. So like we broke up kind of like November, December, and then the incident at the hotel happened in Jan. It was like a couple of days after my birthday, and then there was still a little bit back and forth. You know, breakups are hard, guys. At some point, obviously, his family were notified that we had broken up, you know, because the family had gotten involved. And the uncle that was there the night, like I had that, like, I know what you've been doing, I know about the girl, whatever. One of his uncles was at his house, and that uncle had subsequently been to my aunt's place. And like, let me say, this dude looked my aunt in the eyes and said, the next time I come here, I'm bringing cows. Meanwhile, he was busy. Anyway, so there was, basically what I'm trying to illustrate is there was already like proper like engagement with families, right? But not like deep. So they knew that we broke up, and so this elder that had offered to pay for my clothes contacted me, right? And he, like, Mr. It had said, like, I really trust this guy. He's been there for me at really hard times, and I see him as a second dad. So I was like, okay, cool. You know what? I feel like I can. I felt weird that there was a direct line of communication with him, but he was like, look, if ever you need anything, just chat to me. Anywho, post breakup, he comes to the country. He says, the senior person comes to the country. He says, let's meet up. I want to chat to you. I'm thinking, okay, it has to do with the breakup. So he wants to play matchmaker, fix things. So I'm like, okay, no problem. And I was still kind of, you know, one toe in, 9 toes out, you know. So I get to the restaurant. So it's like there's, you know, like most hotels, there's like hotel and then there's like restaurants, but it's a big place. Anyway, okay, then I tell it that, look, the senior person wants to meet you. And then he's like, yeah, no, it's fine. Like, I mean, I imagine what he's going to say. And out of respect, I think go chat to him. So I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. Because, like, obviously when there's a breakup, things are very, like, tense, and you don't want to, I don't want to be that girl. So meet up with the dude, with a senior guy. And so when we're there, it's me and him, right? And I'm aware that the rest, like, there's other family members there. So I'm thinking, I'm expecting there'll be more than one person, you know, don't be one-on-one, but it ends up being one-on-one. So I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. And I'm expecting to hear, you know, in relationships, these things happen, you forgive him, no. Wait. Dude is busy inviting me to the country. He's telling me that soon there's going to be free entry between Angola and South Africa. So, like, I'll be able to come whenever I want. When I want to come, I must bring a friend. So I'm like, oh, is this why I'm here? And now I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe he's trying to break the ice. So let me not, like, jump the gun. Let me be respectful. So he's like making, like, lots of small talk. Mind you, dude is married, ne? Ushatile. 2 bambinos, ne? So I'm thinking, okay, cool. Like, he's gonna this plane is gonna land. But the plane is an invitation to catch a plane. That was the premise of the conversation. So now I'm thinking, okay, this is weird. Later on, its cousins come and join us. So I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe, okay, something's happening now. Then he's like, let's go for a soccer game together. So I'm thinking it's gonna be all of us. No. Tina Sobabidi. So I'm like, now I'm, like, in a precarious situation because, 1, I want the money for my clothes. 2, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I don't want people to have, like, a misconception about why I'm there, you know? And even his cousins were like, yeah, what did he say? I'm sure he's trying to get you guys to get back together. I don't want to be like, no, that's not what he was doing. Not only did he invite me to Angola, he also invited me to Portugal because, you know, Angolans, they, like, Angola, Portugal, same WhatsApp group, same country. Like, they migrate there in September. So he's like, when you want to come to Europe, let me know. I'll set it up, I'll organize, you must bring a friend. Dude, and mind you, guys, I'm going through emotional turmoil because Sikle, but he is still in love with it, you know. So I was still trying to reconcile my feelings, and now there's this. So I'm not sure of what to make of this, but I'm uncomfortable, right? So I politely excuse myself from going to the soccer game and say that I have other engagements that I had to attend to. But I'm also trying to, like, make sure that, like, there's still a rapport, so I can get I need to get my check for my clothes, dog. Like, a wig is not cheap, and my wig was like, it was a proper blow in the wind wig, okay? Now, I tell it, look, your uncle, the conversation was a little bit weird. I don't know. And he's like, no, he's just friendly. Like, don't read into it. Like, he's just looking out for me and he wants us to like reestablish things. So I think the conversation was just to make sure you're doing okay and. So I'm like, okay, right. Anyway, I think a couple of days later, he says to me, I must come pick up the cash. So I'm like, okay, cool, what time? I can't remember exactly what he said, but I think he just said to me, he asked me if I was available to come later. So, I mean, I didn't think much of it, so I was like, sure, no problem. And me thinking later is like later afternoon, maybe like early evening. Then I think he messaged me later on, and he was like, yeah, come around 9:10. I'm like, what? Then he's like, I'll leave my hotel key card for you at the concierge. You can just wait for me in my room. I'm like, what? Thankfully, at the time, I had a roommate. So I said to my roommate, bruh, let's go there. And then she's like, yeah, we've got to go there looking crusty. So, like, we are going to be there in pajamas. I think we went there in pajamas, slippers, and we had our dogs on, right? And I was just like, I felt at the time it was a little bit over the top, but I also needed to make it very clear that, like, no. So anyway, when we were about to leave, he's like, no, can you come in an hour's time? And I'm like, how? This timeline is getting late. I'm just like, okay, cool. Thankfully, my friend was very patient, and she was like, you're definitely not going there by yourself. So I was like, thank you. I got backup. So our plan was that we didn't want it to be obvious that we were going in there together, right? Because I don't want my money. So I said to her, I'm going to walk to the concierge and you wait for me by the elevator. Walk in, I get the key, we go upstairs. Text him, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm here. I don't mention at any point that I've come with a chaperone. Then the way the room was designed was such that, mind you, it was a small room, né? So that also was like, from my understanding and knowledge of this person's family, like they don't stay in those kinds of rooms. So I was like, is this a separate room? Because it's small. Anyway, you walk in, immediately you can see like there's a chair, and then there's the bed, and then there's like another chair in the corner. So I said, I'm going to sit here in plain view of the door. You sit there, Ekonin. So I wait, still waited another hour. Mr. Man comes in, smiling, comes to the corner of the bed, just before, like the extreme corner, the opposite corner, right? So when you get to the corner of the bed, then you can see what's happening on the other side. Then he sees, oh, he didn't come alone. You know when you can see here, shocky face. And I'm like, So my deduction about the scenario was correct. Anyway, so I stay level-headed. I play none the wiser. And I said, oh, we're really tired. He's like, no shame. I wasn't expecting you guys to I don't know what he said, but he basically said, like he fumbled over his words, but he basically inferred they didn't expect me to come with somebody. So he's like, let me send you guys on your way. And I was like, okay, cool. Just like, can I get the doila? Can I get the money? And he's like, yeah, sure. So he gives me the money. And then me and my friend walk out. And you know when you know, guys, you would think that would be the end of it. Dude was not like he still texted me and he was like, we should still meet up, let's have some dinner, ning ning ning. And I was like, what is going on? Like, am I being played? Like, do they have that little respect for me, or do they have that little respect for him? I'm like, families were involved here. Like, what? And then, I mean, later to realize that there's no blood relation to it and this guy, this older person. So, but he revered him as like a second father. For me, I was just like, this is so weird. And like there was a while where he was still like commenting WhatsApp statuses, saying I look beautiful, shmee shmee shmee. And then at some point, like I was just like, "Aye, man, I must stop replying." Here, I eventually unsaved his number so he could stop seeing my statuses. But he was the thing that made me feel like I don't know, this nation, they just built different. Like, personally, I don't think it's okay that happened. And like, it's just, I don't know. They just even how there were other things that happened outside of outside of it directly, like just how the people in that circle operated. It's just suspicious, you know. And with women, I just felt like, it's just there's a weird relationship between women and that nation. And I don't know if it's culturally based on, I'm blanketing, but let me say specifically with that group. I don't know, maybe it was just him and the group that it's not just blood relationships, it's also just like family friends that acted some type of way. I just feel like it's problematic, you know? And I had always known them to be problematic. And I just wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. Because I didn't feel like people should be judged based on where they're from. And I still don't, you know. But thankfully, I'm in really great relationships. So I don't even have to worry about those kinds of things. But yeah, guys, be careful who you date, eh? It might not just be the person. It might be the family, the friends, the social circle. Like, you might be stepping into a complete disaster. And interestingly enough, I don't think I mentioned this in the last video. Within a short period of time, found out dude was expecting a baby, and then ning ning, engaged. But literally last month, he tried to call me from 5 different numbers. And how do I know it was him? Because he called from one number, then he called from another, then he called from another, then he called from his new number, and I could see his face on WhatsApp. So, yeah, good luck to that woman, because she signed up for something else. Anyway, guys, that is the conclusion of this video. I don't even know, like, you know, that's it. That's the conclusion of this video. I don't really have any closing comments per se. Just look after yourselves. Be grateful if you're in a great relationship. Be grateful if you're single. If you're in a toxic relationship, start thinking about your exit strategy, because it can follow you for the rest of your life. Anyway, that concludes today's story time. Very interesting story time. I never thought I'd actually share details like this on YouTube, but I mean, broke up 3 years ago, so why the heck not? Anyway, Don't forget to subscribe. Who knows, maybe I have more stories like these. Yeah, I've lived an interesting life.